When nighttime arrives, the group is sitting around a campfire, and Kim Jang-cheol thinks this is extremely dangerous. If they get attacked by bandits or monsters and take a hit, the metamorphosis will break, then they'll die at aged Kimchi's hands, and the capital is also still far away. If they just sell the chuno and buy seeds, that'd be enough. No need to go so far with Rivaj's group. He takes a look at aged Kimchi, who is staring daggers at him. Kim Jang-cheol starts sweating again, and he nervously smiles and waves at him. But aged Kimchi just continues to stare. So Kim Jang-cheol looks away and thinks that just making eye contact with him makes his body utterly weak. He decides to run away. Tonight, under the cover of the darkness, they're escaping. That is the best idea Bro has had in a long time. In the middle of the night, while everyone is asleep, Kim Jang-cheol is busy slapping Ball, also known as Bad Stench, to wake up. But the stubborn guy keeps saying that he needs 8 hours of sleep to grow, and Kim tells him that he has already finished his growth ages ago. Kim Jang-cheol signs for the alpaca and pelican to be quiet so they can sneak away. He looks at the other tent to make sure no one is awake. Sergei suddenly speaks and asks where they are going in the middle of the night. All of a sudden, Kim is surprised, and she explains that her mouth isn't used to the structure yet, so it took her a while to talk. Kim Jang-cheol explains that since they've passed the fortress, they don't need to bother sticking with these annoying people. They're useless to them now. Bro is just running for his life. He tells the generals that they just need to accomplish their goal. If they drag this out and their identities get exposed, they're screwed. Someone listening asks what identity he is talking about. This person is none other than aged Kimchi, the very person Kim Jang-cheol was trying to avoid. Kim Jang-cheol opens his mouth wide. He knows he is screwed for sure this time. Back in the abandoned land, Chavande and Tor, this sounds French. Hartak and Zeph are silently looking at something in front of them. It's the subordinates of one of the Star Masters, Ruster. Hartak asks the group why there are so many of them gathered when a summons wasn't issued. One of them explains that they heard their Star Master was here, and that there's also food here, so they came. Hartak is frustrated by the situation since the Demon Lord hasn't brought more seeds yet, so goods are limited. Moments later, another group arrives and asks what the heck. Why are the crustacean guys here too? Hartak looks to his side and sees I Am Groot's subordinates, who asked to be taken in since they had nothing to do with I Am Groot's betrayal. Reptile subordinates also arrive and ask for Lord Hartak's help. They came a long way. Everyone's on the brink of starvation. With all 3 groups there, asking for help, Hartak asks Zeph how much chuno they have, and he responds that they have plenty. But the problem is how many more days they have to endure while feeding everyone here. Hartak calmed down and remember the words Demon Lord Kratos said before leaving, that while he is gone, Hartak is the Demon Lord, so he should think and act like a Demon Lord. Demon Lord Hartak tells the demons that each race should divide the land and settle their territories. He'll make sure there's food. Back in a human territory, Kim Jang-cheol's group stands before aged Kimchi, who inquires about their identity. Kim Jang-cheol is unable to come up with an answer, and Bad Stench asks why he is flustered. He is sure he will be able to knock him out if Kim tells him to. Kim Jang-cheol whispers to him to not go around fighting recklessly. If he looks closely at that guy called aged Kimchi, does he look like someone whose combat power can be estimated? Bad Stench agrees because, honestly, he found him a little scary in the beginning. Aged Kimchi tells Kim Jang-cheol that he can hear them, which scares him. I have never seen a final boss this scared of anyone before. Even when aged Kimchi breathes, Kratos gets scared. Aged Kimchi wonders what the summon of duty and the Demon Lord, Kim Jang-cheol, who once led him into a cycle of slaughter, but now he seeks peace. He wonders what his true intentions are and why he has come all the way. He wants to know what's truly in Kratos' heart. Kim Jang-cheol decides to come clean to aged Kimchi about their current situation. They are not here to present a tribute to the king, as he already knows the land lacks food, but they have to farm somehow. So in the wagon behind them are their regional specialty. They came here to sell chunos and buy vegetable seeds. That's why he tried to leave secretly, so they wouldn't get caught. Moreover, the royal capital was too far, so they were aiming for the nearest city. He sincerely apologizes, and he hopes aged Kimchi would understand. They're just so poor and hungry. Kim Jang-cheol is trying to appeal to aged Kimchi's sympathy. He hopes that it will get them through this part without any trouble. Both aged Kimchi and Kim Jang-cheol stare at each other for a while. Aged Kimchi can tell Kim Jang-cheol is not lying, but he also feels he is definitely hiding something. But now he finally knows why the demons started eating humans. It was because they lacked food. Aged Kimchi tells Kim Jang-cheol that what he's saying makes sense, but he can't just let they go. Azrahan vouched for them to present a tribute to the king, and he couldn't let them down. So here's the deal. They will stop on the way, sell their chunos, and buy seeds. But they must continue on to the royal capital, and as agreed, those two beasts are tribute to the king. Both Sergei and Azurat are taken aback by this proposal. But what shocked them even more was the fact that Kim Jang-cheol agreed, and called them junk that could be easily given away. But he only agreed because aged Kimchi sounded serious. He doesn't really mean it. He plans to ditch him as soon as they get the seeds. The next day, Kim Jang-cheol tells Rivage that he plans to sell chunos along the way. And Rivage asks if Kim can show him what they look like. Kim agrees, but explains it's nothing special. It's just a slightly bigger potato, cooked. He raises the turf to give them a look at the potatoes. Rivage is speechless after seeing the size of each potato, and Diol is horrified by them. But Rivage just smiles and hopes Kim sells a lot. But Diol is losing his mind over the huge potatoes. He tells Kim Jang-cheol to present this as the tribute to the king instead of the beasts. The potatoes look way more valuable. But of course, Kim Jang-cheol, who just wants to sell his chunos in peace, insists that they're just big, ugly potatoes. Why would he use this as tribute? Diol tells him that it's not just big, it's massive. That's what she said. Just kidding. I just couldn't help it. But Kim Jang-cheol tells him that he's hilarious. If size mattered the most, the tallest person would be king. And Rivage laughs and says that maybe he likes it because it looks like him. Diol gets angry and curses at Rivage that one day he'll get rich and make him his slave. Spoiler for the greatest real estate developer Manhwa. As they continue their journey, Kim Jang-cheol thinks that the potato head guy might be right. The potatoes are strange enough that maybe they could be rewarded by the king. But getting away from aged kimchi is more important. Before their cover is blown, they need to leave as soon as possible. Rivage gets excited as he sees the commercial city, Daparakia. In the city, thanks to Rivage Azrahan's generosity, both Kim and Ball got a room. Aged Kimchi's group also got one. The beasts, of course, were not given one. But Kim Jang-cheol wondered what kind of inn like this in a commercial city has rooms to spare, even though they look shabby. But whatever, Kim Jang-cheol and his group decided to head to the market. Their first goal is to sell chuno. Azurat asks Kim Jang-cheol if he is really going to hand them over to the king. Kim responds, of course not. Azurat is his precious lightning rod. Azurat says he thought that job was done, but Kim just tells him that he is just on sabbatical. It's just a small break. When they arrive at the market, Sergei notices that the place feels off. She had heard human markets were supposed to be bustling, but this feels even duller than among demons. Kim Jang-cheol also noticed that it's been feeling kinda eerie since they arrived. It means the economy isn't doing well, and he wonders if they will be able to sell chuno. But now that doesn't matter. There's no use worrying. They just have to keep moving forward. He lays a turf on the ground in the middle of the market and places the chuno on it. And then he claps and says aloud, "Come take a look. We have huge potato-sized chunos. 1 for 20, 2 for 30. Come get some. Aunt, uncle, sis, bro, come pick your favorite. We got tasty chunos packed full of nutrition." Ball starts to feel embarrassed that their great and mighty demon lord, the final boss, is doing something like this. But Kim Jang-cheol yells at him to shut up. They gotta eat, so what's there to be ashamed of? They demons, once of their own kind just to survive. If they can get by with just this much shame, they should be grateful. Ball is baffled to hear this, and without wasting time, he joins Kim Jang-cheol in calling for customers to come and buy chunos. Kim Jang-cheol notices that the other two are not yelling, and so he scolds them to yell too. And just like the whole group is yelling for customers to come and buy chunos. Kim Jang-cheol thinks that normally, when crossing over from a modern world into a fantasy world, people usually sell modern items like ice cream or MSG-loaded recipes and hit it big instantly. But this is just a big potato. Expecting more than curiosity sales is being too optimistic. That's why they have to give it everything they've got. Because this is what making a living is like. After all the street performances, they finally get their first customer. A man walks up to them and asks if they are really selling this for just 20 gold. And Kim tells him that, of course, but if he buys two, before he can finish, he notices a bunch of people around the chuno, and it seems they all want to buy some. In fact, they seem far eager to buy the chunos, as if they have been starving for days. Kim Jang-cheol is shocked. He wonders what is going on. This level of attention from just the buzz is insane. Kim Jang-cheol was distracted for a moment until Azurat, the pelican, told him not to just stand there. He should hurry up and start selling. Sergei is excited that the Demon Lord's plan worked again. Kim Jang-cheol tells the customers to form a line. In the blink of an eye, they manage to sell a third of the chuno. If word gets out, they might sell out tomorrow. Kim Jang-cheol excitedly tells the 4 generals to wait at the inn. He'll go buy the seeds and come back. The group celebrates their victory all together. Kim Jang-cheol goes to the vendor nearby to purchase seeds, but he is surprised when the vendor asks if he is joking. The vendor tells him that he won't be able to buy seeds in this city. What an unexpected twist of events. The story has somehow found a way to keep him in the human territory for a longer period. At this point, we were all expecting something like this. Kim Jang-cheol asks the vendor what he means by he will not get seeds here. The vendor explains that most food and seeds are swept up by a big trading company. Kim Jang-cheol asks what company that is. Before the vendor could say another word, he sees something and gets scared. He tells Kim that he should go and ask that person behind him. Kim turns to see the individual who is monopolizing all the food and seeds in the city. And a green-haired looking guy asks Kim Jang-cheol if he was the one who was selling large potatoes earlier in front of the fountain. Kim confirms his thoughts. The green-haired guy introduces himself as Russ Lin, the secretary of Merchant Richmond, whom I will now be referring to as Mr. Monopoly. This guy handles all the operations for the Richmond Trading Company. Kim Jang-cheol asks Russ Lin why he is looking for him. Kim also wonders if Richmond Trading Company is the big company the seller mentioned earlier. Russ Lin decides to get straight to the point. He offers to buy all the massive potatoes for 20% more than Kim's selling price. Kim Jang-cheol starts to realize that something fishy is going on. So he first asks Russ Lin how much a handful of cabbage seeds costs. Russ Lin smiles evilly and tells Kim that, right now, their company sells them for about 100 gold. Kim Jang-cheol quickly realizes how outrageous the profit margins are. By this world prices, the most expensive will be 50 gold at best, but they're charging almost double. These Richmond Trading Company bastards are hoarders. They control distribution channels and corner the market to gouge profits. Okay, this is starting to feel like an economics lesson. Kim Jang-cheol finally realizes why that's shabby and has no customers, why the business district is dying, and why the people are desperate to buy chunos. It is all they're doing. Which means Kim Jang-cheol smiles evilly, and Russ Lin becomes worried after seeing that face. Bro, seriously, you have no idea what is coming. Kim Jang-cheol knows that even if he sells all the chunos at the price they are offering, he can't buy many seeds. But just because he needs seeds doesn't mean he has to buy them from them. Technically, the law says he does, but since he's a demon, laws don't really apply to him. Kim Jang-cheol looks to his side and sees that aged Kimchi is monitoring his every move. He must have sensed something suspicious. But Kim has thought a way to ditch him and still get the seeds. Kim Jang-cheol asks Russ Lin if he really wants to buy all the chunos. Russ Lin confirms and asks if Kim wants to sign a contract with him now. But Kim pulls a boss move and asks to talk with Russ Lin's boss, Mr. Monopoly, directly. Russ Lin angrily tells Kim again that he handles the company's operations, but Kim calls him an ordinary employee and says he's not in a position to handle his proposal. Kim is just trying to assert dominance. He wants to show that he's not some pushover small-time merchant Russ Lin can manipulate. Russ Lin gets annoyed and tells Kim that he is the second in command of the Richmond Trading Company, and he has almost all the decision-making authority. So Kim asks for 200 gold for a single potato. They can take it or leave it. Russ Lin is absolutely shocked and left speechless. He can't believe his ears. 200. Even these hoarders think that's too much. Kim laughs in his face for hesitating since he can't make a decision. He tells him that Mr. Monopoly must have thought these dried and processed giant potatoes are easy to store in large quantities. If supplied to the royal army, it would be a jackpot. But here's the question. If they sell these potatoes at a loss, but secure other supply contracts with the kingdom, would they ultimately lose money or make a profit? When Russ Lin is unable to answer the question, Kim tells him to go and get his boss. Later, it starts to rain in the city, and both Sergei and Azurat get soaked in the rain. Azurat curses the demon lord and promises to not forgive him. Sergei asks him to quiet down since they were told not to draw attention by becoming known as talking animals. Azurat asks Sergei, since when did she become such a loyalist? Isn't she angry that they were dragged into human territory like this? She responds that she is actually enjoying it, since she has always been curious about what the human territory was like ever since she was little. She heard there was a lot of food and that people don't eat each other. She honestly couldn't imagine it. She tells Azurat that her parents were eaten by a stronger demon, and honestly, she didn't even feel sad because it was just natural. It was the same when Azurat lost his younger siblings, right? This city is poorer than she expected, but at least no one's eating each other. Earlier in the market, she saw a father, who looked hungry himself, give chuno mushrooms to his child first. If they'd been born here, maybe their families could have been happy too. Azurat looks at the sad Sergei and tells her that now that she's being sentimental, she's talking less like an alpaca. She has just gotten used to the pronunciation. Azurat spread his wing to cover her head and hopes that maybe now the demons can have a happy era too. Kim arrives there and catches them off guard, embarrassing both of them. But Kim was just there to get them for a strategy meeting. Inside the inn, he explains the situation of the city to them. The generals are surprised to hear that some company is monopolizing all the food and selling it at outrageous prices. Sergei asks why they would do that, and Azurat also asks if this place doesn't have plenty to eat without them doing that. Kim explains that it's not because they're afraid of starving. They just want to get richer and richer. Ball thinks it because once their basic needs are satisfied, the hierarchy of wants rises and people seek respect. But Kim tells him what he is saying is some kind of pseudo-intellectual nonsense. Azurat tells him it's not about respect, it's just greed, even though they already have lots to eat. He recalls when a demon ate his siblings. Sergei is upset that they do this when there are people who genuinely have nothing and are starving. She also recalls the time she lost her parents. Even Ball is getting angry. Kim knows they dislike this, but humans are just like that. All they have to do is respond calmly to serve their own goals. Demons should act like demons by invading their warehouse. Back in the demon territory, Zeph and the demon workers are stunned, looking at something. One of them asks, what on earth is Lord Hartok doing? Another explains that he suddenly ordered him to make a huge pot made out of stone, and ever since, he has been creating whirlwinds non-stop. Hartok, after making another whirlwind, bends down from exhaustion, but all is well since his plan is starting to come together. He notices some of the demons looking at him work from the corner of his eye and yells at them to stop looking at this like it's some kind of performance and get back to work since it's not break time. The workers run away scared, while Zeph stays behind. Zeph approaches Hartok and tells him that he is pushing himself too hard. He wonders what in the world does he even needs this much water for anything. I think maybe bros sign up for team water. Hartok informs Zeph that because they can't possibly feed all the demons that have gathered here with the small amount of chunos they have, he plans to boil the chunos in water. Using the same ingredients, they can feed several times more demons. He strongly declares that in this abandoned land, not a single demon should starve. Both Zeph and the baby dragon are in awe of the words he just said, but at the same time, with the look that Hartok is making, it feels like he is about to unalive someone. Yeah, he is clearly not doing good deeds with good intentions. Bro definitely has ulterior motives. Well, he is a demon after all. Zeph wonders how everything began to change the day the demon lord declared they would start farming. The cruel and cold-hearted Hartok, working himself to exhaustion just to provide food for other demons. What could have caused him to change so much? Hartok shows an evil grin and smiles when he thinks about all the compliments he will receive after this. I knew it was too good to be true. Bro is a sucker for likes, but I can't blame him. I'm also a sucker for likes, and speaking of likes, if you have made it this far and you haven't dropped a like for this video yet, please do it. You know you are enjoying this recap, because why else will you be spending your time watching it if you don't enjoy it? Let's not take up more of your time. Quickly drop that like. Back to the story. Zeph tells Hartok that to heat such a gigantic stone cauldron, he'll need an enormous amount of firewood. Hartok is already aware of this. There's no way to get enough unless they start smashing down the houses of lower demons. That's why he is planning to head to the sealed volcano in the 3rd sector to capture the predator of fire. This idea completely takes Zeph by surprise. But before we can find out more about this predator of fire, the story takes us back to the commercial city, Daparakia. A group of people is heading somewhere. Russ Lin is with a white-haired man who seems to be his boss. This white-haired man is a big merchant called Richmond, or as I like to call him, Mr. Monopoly. Mr. Monopoly stands in front of the inn, where Kim Jang-cheol and his demons live. He looks at the shabby place, and he doesn't seem impressed, but he is more disappointed in Russ Lin to think he'd be frightened by the bluff of some ignorant bumpkin. How can a fool like you ever achieve anything great? Bro, trust me, Russ Lin did the best he could. His opponent is just a horrible scumbag. You might do worse yourself. He tells Russ Lin to stay here. He'll show him how to seize something from the uneducated. I bet you one subscription, he comes outside with a worse deal. If you lose, you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Mr. Monopoly knocks on Kim Jang-cheol's door, and he asks who is there. Mr. Monopoly introduces himself as Richmond, a small-time merchant in this city, and since Kim Jang-cheol requested his presence, he has come directly. Mr. Monopoly is given permission to enter, and he smiles evilly. He thinks the ignorant often let their guard down in the face of feigned courtesy. They never realize that the one doing the taking is always the polite one. But Mr. Monopoly enters the room to find an alpaca, a pelican, one sickly man, and a handsome one, all just aura farming. What the helly, Mr. Monopoly is not even sure what is going on here. It feels like he's being interviewed for a job. Kim Jang-cheol menacingly tells him to take a seat so they can begin the job interview. Just kidding, Mr. Monopoly, take a seat and think, why do they look like that? They look just like demons. They are. And he wonders who the others are in the room. Are they beasts? No. Those are human expressions they're wearing. And that handsome hulking one, drooling like that, what the hell is he? He looks even scarier because he has that kind of face. Kim Jang-cheol asks if he heard about his offer. The scared old man says yes. He asked for 200 per potato. Kim says no. He said 300. Mr. Monopoly is stunned. He tries to say 300 is too much, but Kim Jang-cheol responds that their group includes Lord Azrahan himself. Mr. Monopoly is stunned to hear that House Azrahan is involved. Kim explains that the noble house that takes direct orders from the royal family is involved. Wouldn't it be wise to stay on their good side while he still can? Mr. Monopoly returns outside and tells Russ Lin that the deal is sealed at 300. Russ Lin is completely shocked. But that is not all. They must also escort them to his mansion and prepare individual rooms for them, the beasts included, because it's included in the contract. Russ Lin asks why Mr. Monopoly would be generous to such ignorant louts. But Mr. Monopoly just yells at him that short-term loss always brings greater profit in the long run. Bro got fleeced. Not only is he paying 100 gold extra, but now he also has to provide 5-star accommodations for everyone, even the beasts, for free. All those who lost the bet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Honestly, Mr. Monopoly was just too scared in there to do anything. Russ Lin is absolutely furious. Back inside of Kim's room, Bad Stench asks if it wouldn't be easier to just kill them and take their supplies. Kim explains that if they rob them and a fight breaks out, their disguise might slip, and it could turn into an all-out war between demons and humans. The best option is to avoid a fight, quietly drain them dry, and then vanish. He tells the generals that for Mr. Monopoly to monopolize the market, he'll need 3 things: a connection to cover his back and shield him from the law, plenty of funds, and a massive warehouse to store an enormous amount of provisions. So while we stay at his mansion, they'll find out where that storage is. Sergei asks a very important question. How does the demon lord know human dealings so well? It's almost like he has lived in the human world for a long time. Looks like someone has finally noticed. The demon lord stares at them for a while, and he responds that he knows about it because he is the demon lord. Bro is cheating too much. But it works, and the generals believe him. These idiots are quick to accept explanations. Meanwhile, outside their room, aged Kimchi, who heard everything, wonders if the summon of duty intends to steal from humans. Later, the group is taken to Mr. Monopoly's estate. Lord Rivage can't believe Kim got them such a fine room. He wonders how he managed to do it. By using your noble house's name. Kim lies to him that when he told Mr. Monopoly they were going to sell a huge potato. This was the result. They even gave them extra gifts as thanks. Rivage honestly can't believe those oversized potatoes actually had real value. And Dial explains that they're just big. They are huge. That's what she said, just kidding. Those potatoes are supposed to be presented directly to the king. Rivage thought Dial just like them out of some sense of kinship, since they look like him. Dial asks how he is anything like a potato. Well, his features are a little similar. Dial asks Kim if he sold all the potatoes, and Kim responds yes. Dial starts getting frustrated, but Kim tells him that they'll get them back because they're going to steal them. And in a heartbeat, Dial agrees to work with him. If anyone thinks one Lloyd Frontera is already enough trouble, they haven't seen two at work. Lord Rivage asks what he means by steal. Kim says they're going to steal back everything they've stockpiled. Lord Rivage, who is a man of the state, thinks such a crime is absolutely unacceptable. Kim agrees, but then he supposes Lord Rivage also can't accept that they hoard all the food supplies in the city and deliberately wreck the economy, right? Lord Rivage is shocked to hear what Kim said. It seems this guy didn't notice anything strange in the city. Later, while Rustlin and the guard are transporting the goods, Kim comes over and asks if they are moving their potatoes into the warehouse now. Rustlin absolutely can't stand the sight of Kim, but he responds yes, that's right. Kim asks to have a look at the warehouse. He wants to see how their chunos are being stored. But Rustlin, who is no fool, refuses because their warehouse is top secret. Kim inquires as to why it's top secret, and Rustlin explains that the methods they use to preserve their supplies are trade secrets. Kim immediately starts to be stubborn. He falls to the ground and throws a tantrum like a little kid. He demands to see the warehouse. Rustlin still refuses since it's confidential, and he asks the courier to move out now. Kim quickly crawls on the ground like a spider. He moves in front of the wagon and lies on the ground, claiming he is not moving. They can either step over him or take him to the warehouse. The courier tries to move him out of the way, but the big baby is still throwing a tantrum. He starts a warehouse chant, and it absolutely irritates Rustlin. Even the generals are irritated and embarrassed to see their demon lord behave like a little kid. Sergei is so embarrassed that she wouldn't even call that thing a demon lord. Lord Rivage is also looking from his window, and he also thinks it's embarrassing to be associated with him. Just what the hell is wrong with this guy? But someone would disagree. In his eyes, Kim is a man. In fact, he's a real man, the manliest man of them all. He's throwing away his dignity as a human for the sake of his goal. He believes he must learn his ways and carry them with me into his next life. Bro, I think you need to choose a better role model. Lord Rivage wonders why Dial would want to learn that. He'll just earn scorn and ridicule. He thinks Kim Jang-cheol was so confident earlier. Now look at him. Flashback to a few minutes ago, Kim told Lord Rivage that he could expose their crimes and punish them, collect evidence, track down their backers, and file a case in the royal court. But how long would all that take? And during all that time, citizens will continue to starve. He just can't bear that thought. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for this master manipulator. He even managed to cry real tears. Lord Rivage cries just thinking about this. Kim hopes Lord Rivage would understand. Let them join forces and return to the people what was stolen from them. What should have been theirs from the beginning? Lord Rivage, in the present, thinks he understands Kim's feelings and resolve. He'll also give everything he has to support him. After all, Kim promised to find the warehouse. Lord Rivage should just prepare what he requested. Lord Rivage is stunned to know that the method for finding the warehouse was that ridiculous display. After a long cat-and-mouse play, the guards are able to toss Kim aside. But before he could return, they quickly moved out. Kim slowly gets up on his feet. He is extremely happy that his blood eye skill is complete. The system shows that Rustlin will remain irritable for the next 7 hours, and currently, he is moving north from his position, heading toward a secret underground warehouse beneath the outskirts mines. It seems Kim did all those things on purpose to irritate Rustlin and get enough time to use the blood eye skill. Aged Kimchi looks at Kim from his window, and he wonders why Kim didn't seize it all by force. Is this truly for justice, or is it just pillaging? Is he a demon or a hero? The more he watches him, the less he understands. Back in the demon territory, Hartok is heading somewhere with Zeph, who tells him that the Predator of Fire is powerful. They should have brought the entire army. Hartok responds that indeed, the Predator of Fire is powerful, and dragging a bunch of weaklings along will only create more casualties. Caring for them and protecting them is the duty of the 4 great demon heavenly generals. He bends open the cell bars and heads inside the prison. Both Zeph and the baby dragon are trembling in fear. Hartok asks if he's not going to write down what he just said. Bro is seriously doing this just to look cool. On his way inside, he thinks that was amazing. The demon lord will surely praise him. No, he will just turn you into a human lightning rod if this fails. He knows that the predator of fire has low intelligence, extreme aggression, and was guilty of cannibalizing its own kind. He was sentenced to death, but his strength was too valuable, so he was sealed here instead. If this creature is a reek loss, then bro, why are you here to free it for some likes? He calls forth Ikrit, the predator of fire. He has a task for him. Some seconds later, something comes up from the lava, and it immediately asks for food. It seems to be a big-ass dragon. Hartok immediately realizes the dragon grew too big to mess with. He fucked up.